start our meeting tonight. We're going to do the pledge and we're going to have a invocation. And the invocation is going to be given by a member of the clergy of our community. Each time we meet with the Board of Works and the council, we have an invocation. The invocation is given for the benefit of the council or the Board of Works. If you'd like to participate, it's fine, and if you don't want to participate, you don't have to participate. And if you don't participate, it'll have no bearing on the reason that you've come here, whatever business you've come here to discuss tonight. So with that, we're going to stand and ask Councilwoman Nancy Stevens to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wayne Blair, we all upon you.
Almighty, we approach you with thanksgiving in our heart that we have a government. It is needed. We ask that the cooperation that we have seen from this group will continue. We ask that community support will be there and that people will really and truly participate, that they will ask of these people things that they need clarification on. And we ask that people will really and truly appreciate the effort that people put in. And may these people have help with the decisions they have to make. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes they mull them over a lot before they can come to a conclusion and make a decision. And so now we're thankful for these people and ask that the work that they've been doing will continue. And we ask it in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Randy.
We welcome everybody tonight. This being our regular meeting, we'll move right into it. I'm going to ask that everybody look at their cell phones and be sure that we've got them on vibrate or on turned off. And we'll have roll call.
Councilwoman Risch.
Present.
Councilman Weber.
Present.
Councilman Schobel.
Present. Councilman
Nobby. Councilwoman Montgomery.
Present.
Councilman Creech.
Present.
Councilwoman Stevens.
Present.
Let the record show 6 council people are here. We have a quorum and we can do business. The reading of the minutes of the last meeting.
Your Honor, I noticed that they had the time at 7:30 instead of 7.
We did start at 7:30.
We did that night?
Yep.
Because we didn't have a quorum.
Yes.
Okay,
Remember?
okay,
Nancy came down and helped us out.
okay.
I remember. I move the minutes be approved as presented.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor to approve the minutes as they were sent out. Are there any additions or corrections? None appearing, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Fran, I'm just glad to know somebody actually reads it.
See, now you know.
Okay, I think before we even start tonight, I'm going to let the people from Superior come up and give their report. They were nice enough to come this afternoon, and I think we got to go back to Indianapolis tonight, and I don't want you driving in the dark, so come forth and give your report first. This is Superior Chemical, it's the parent company of Reclaimed Energy, right? Did I say it right?
Yes, Mayor.
And he'll give you his name and address so we get it into the record here.
Sure. Steve Wakefield, and Vice President of Operations. I've been with Superior for 31 years, a long time. And my address is 1402 North Capitol Avenue in Indianapolis, Indiana, Suite 100, zip code 46202. And the mayor asked me to come this evening and update you on the spill that occurred out on the west side of Connersville on State Road 44, just inside of town. And just to recap a little bit of what happened, it's been almost 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks Tuesday when we had the spill. We had a tractor that was carrying paint thinner. We call it paint-related material. The driver looked away momentarily and his drive tire slipped down off the pavement. And it's soft and the embankment's steep there. There's about 30 inches beyond the white line of pavement, and then you have the drop off there. And once that happened, he tried to wrestle the truck back on the road, but the rear tandems followed the truck down into the ditch, and he kind of got the tractor back up, but the tandems didn't make it. Tore off half the rear tandems, and within about 40 feet, the tanker flipped on its side and released 2,300 gallons of the about 6,000 gallons into the ditch in front of the Spurlock home, and that's when the emergency response began, and we quickly mobilized, and throughout the day were able to pump the remaining product off the truck. The fire department did a wonderful job. Chief Tipton and his men did a really great job of putting down a layer of foam on the tanker and around the tanker where the chemicals had spilled, the solvents had spilled, suppressing the vapors so that we could work around that. And they did a great job, and I say that because a lot of fire departments put a lot of water on the fire, and they used minimal water and used the foam to suppress the vapors, so they did a great job. Since then, we've been meeting daily. The firehouse has been the meeting place, and we thank the fire department for that. They've kept on task, and they've kept informed every step of the way of what's going on. Immediately, we brought in roll-off boxes and removed about 15 20 cubic yard roll-off boxes right where the tanker spilled, which was the hot spot with the chemicals, to get it out of the drainage way in case it rained. After that, we took a look at where the material had migrated to, and the material had migrated over onto the Hardy property, and we spent about the next week and a half putting soil borings down to determine the extent of where it had gone to. And we believe we've got containment where we know where the material is. We brought in a spill contractor, Summit, who put infiltration trenches in front of it, and we've been pumping out of those infiltration trenches a little bit of water every day and holding it steady until we get the final plan of action in place, which should begin later this week, which will be a dig and haul program to remove quite a bit of soil in that area and get it to what the state considers non-detect. It is non-detect, that's what they want. So IDEM has been involved every step of the way. The Connersville Utilities have been involved every step of the way in the meetings. I will say that during the incident command portion throughout the day when we had the accident, Mr. Rowland, Battalion Chief Rowland, did a great job of pulling together the resources. The experts were there and not making and forcing decisions, but relying on the people to bring them to the table and building consensus. I would give the fire department the highest marks available because they just did a fantastic job, and that's a tough thing to do to manage a situation. The police chief did a great job of securing State Road 44 and protecting the public. Just a really great community involvement from the department heads within town. So our plan, like I said, is to, over the next several weeks, to dig and haul and backfill that area. And it's a very unfortunate incident, and we apologize that it happened in your community, but we're going to do everything we possibly can to make sure it's professionally cleaned up to the satisfaction of yourselves and the property owners. So.
I said today at the Board of Works, I have worked with Reclaimed Energy for the last 6 years, ever since I've been mayor. They are excellent neighbors. They employ many people. It's a wonderful company. And the first question I was asked after this happened, are they going to still buy the corner lot up there where the fire was and make it prettier than what it is today? And that was my first question to him when he came into my office. And we plan to still move forward with that. And I'm glad that he could come here today and tell you that all of your department heads worked excellent. This was it could have been really a lot worse than it was, and because of the quick action and everybody pulled together and worked. I was out there on the morning it happened, and I could tell in just a minute it was no place for me. I didn't know what I was doing, and I shouldn't be there. I have been criticized by a few people that I didn't get out there more, but that's why we have experts and department heads to take care of that. So we do appreciate your company, and we appreciate you. Are there any questions before we let him go back to Indianapolis?
Sir,
Yes.
is that a livable property? I mean, once you get done, people still stay there? Can you build a new home if you ever tore that one? I mean, will it be as good as it was?
It's hard to tell at this point in time. The Hardy residence probably took the brunt of it. The way the material, when it's soaked in and spilled, there's about About 6 to 8 feet down, there's a really tight clay layer. It's almost like concrete, and you have pretty good clay soil on top, so the material went down and just kind of like ran along the surface and soaked into the soils and spread out on top of that. So we don't believe it got anywhere near the groundwater. It was contained in the soils above. But it's one of those things that we believe we can get, we can remediate the property to the point where it could be saleable at some point in time. The Hardys don't feel comfortable living there, and they moved out today, and we're working with them to try and come to some type of agreement. Time will tell if we can make that an acceptable agreement to them, but that is our sincere goal at Superior, is to work with the property owners and to make sure that, you know, we have impacted their property and we want to make it right with them.
Okay, thank you.
Along that same line, there's a transite pipe that feeds the south side, and I hope I'm saying it right, Bill's not here tonight, but feeds the water, and the transite might be susceptible to the solvent that was spilled. It isn't at this point, there's no problem. But Bill has come up with a program to connect to the north side. There's a main over there, and we'll put steel pipe, and I think we're gonna put 5 homes with new service, 5 or 6, what is it?
5.
5.
6, counting possibly the end with a motel down there. Yeah.
We're gonna run 6 new services with steel pipe, so there's no danger of that transite pipe, and then we'll abandon that transite pipe. We'll run under the road, I think with a 4 or 6 inch main, so there's still a loop. And he said today that they would probably put a hydrant there so that they can take water out of that hydrant and test it and watch it, but there's no danger right now. Fire Chief, do you have anything you'd like to add to the report? Come forth if you do.
I would like to say that Bill came up with that because one of the things that we were talking about is that 4-inch main on the north side of the road. Over time, they felt like would potentially be degraded some, and you might have a rupture in the pipe. And so he wanted it replaced, and Bill came up with a solution to push lines under the road from the 10-inch main on the other side of the street, which really was a great solution, so.
Yeah, we would never have a water contamination issue. What we would have is, we would have a pipe failure, and when we talked, we agreed that it wouldn't be fair to the property owners up through there to have their pipes fail, and then, you know, next year, 6 months, be digging their yard up again. But we wouldn't have a contamination type issue.
So that issue is in hand.
Yeah.
Any questions? Anybody in the room have any questions? Well, got all the experts here. We really do appreciate you coming in tonight and coming in today, and appreciate the way you've handled it in such a good manner. And I can tell you that Reclaimed Superior Chemical has a great relationship with IDEM. I see their reports. They have to apply for clean air and all the different things because they do work with these chemicals. And they have an excellent relationship with IDEM. I have met with IDEM myself, and I'm not allowed to tell you, but they did brag a little bit on us. They're not supposed to, but they did brag a little bit on our department heads. And so I'm just pleased with the way it all has come out. It's too bad it happened, but it was taken care of.
And if we are able to get the corner property.
There's no if. Take that
Yeah,
out.
okay. We've agreed. Hopefully to be able to close that deal. Our plan is to build an office building. Right now our offices are crammed in that older building, and we want to spread out a little bit and build an office building on the corner and a maintenance building there and some parking behind it. So hopefully that'll dress the corner up quite a bit, and we can put a good face on Reclaimed Energy in that corner, so.
John says we're just waiting on the purchase agreement.
Right.
So you push your lawyers a little bit, we'll get that purchase agreement, we'll get that done.
I think they were working on an ALTA survey and a few things, and they should have it pretty quickly, so.
Thank you so much. And
Okay.
if there's anything the city can do, let us know.
Okay, and any questions you have at any time, I can be reached, and I'll be glad to talk to you individually or a group again,
Would
however.
you like to introduce your local man here?
Ron
I call him the
Snyder.
bicycle man.
Ron's our plant manager, so to speak, at the facility, and has been with Reclaimed Energy for 33 years. So,
Another good man.
yeah. So,
Thank you so much, and you go back to Indianapolis.
Yes.
Thank you much. Thanks, Ron. You've heard me talking now for about 3 months about moving the Vistion building on to another company. John and I spent 3.5 hours on the phone hammering out the final details of an agreement on Friday. We have the clean copy tonight. It's not in a position where we can present it to you, but it will be 1 week from tonight. Our attorneys in Indianapolis and Mr. Baker are in the process of getting all the documents. I have a timeline here, what's going to take place, and this means that the way it looks, we're going to be able to put a lot of jobs up at Bistion over a period of several years, and this has to be done through our redevelopment commission. And I had not really worried about the redevelopment commission because we weren't using it, and we're 2 people short. It's council appointments, so I've been working today, and I asked several people, but everybody I asked lived out in the county. You have to live in the city. So I have 2 names to present to you. Gabe Nobby actually gave me Terry Sturgeon, Sturgeon, works at the school. I don't know, some of you probably know him. And Tom Beck owns Sears. I would like to, if the council would allow me, to give you those names to consider to put on the redevelopment commission, because they will need to meet next Monday night at 6 o'clock and organize and get ready to do this, providing you give them the go-ahead on Monday night, which we're going to do all this in one night. The Board of Works will meet, the City Council will meet, and the Redevelopment Commission will meet.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to ask council, does anyone on council have any names they would like to present? If not, I would like to make a motion that we accept those 2 gentlemen.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have 2 council appointments to be on the Redevelopment Commission to serve the rest of this year. They have to be reappointed each year. First one will be Terry Sturgeon. He's agreed to do it. He works at the school, and his address is, Melissa?
I don't have it.
But he's a city resident.
Close enough.
Okay. And Tom Beck, who lives on Beverly Court and operates the Sears store. We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion?
What's the redevelopment commission do?
Redevelopment Commission takes property that is got a value that can be used to redevelop. That's where we get the word from, to put jobs in. But it takes a piece of property that, and they can sell it for less than its appraised value. The city, if we go to sell a piece of property, we gotta take bids. We gotta take the highest bid. If we don't get the bid equal to the average of 2 appraisals, then we gotta redo it. It's just cumbersome and hard for us to do it. The Redevelopment Commission can do it, working with economic development and the city. They can do it to promote jobs and to promote redevelopment in the city. All right, say it right, John?
That's very well, yeah. That's basically what it does, and also it gets involved in the tax increment finance work that needs to be done, including the various things that need to be passed
John,
in order to get that taken care of.
didn't that also require the blessing of the city council?
Yes.
It will, yeah, that's why we're having a meeting
That's
Monday
why
night.
we're all meeting jointly next week.
That's what I was getting.
And we hope to have the purchase agreement, and again, the company wants to remain anonymous because of competition, but we've worked with them now for at least 3 months. They've been down here last week, they were here 3 days. We spent lots of time with them, and we are convinced that this is a great thing for Connersville. And at some point, they'll be making a public announcement, probably after we sign the purchase agreement. Would you say, John?
I guess so.
But right now, we gotta kinda do it all. We'll give you the name that they're gonna be running under next week, and we'll have all those documents. We just saw the cleaned up document that we worked on Friday. We just saw it about a couple hours ago ourselves. This is gonna be a great thing for Connersville, because this company has great history. They're gonna put jobs in here, and it's just gonna be a wonderful thing once we get it going. Now, we're not there yet. I wanna be very clear, we're not there yet. We haven't signed any documents. We've got a memorandum of understanding, that's as far as we got. But we do have a timeline of the way we'll put this in place. There's 2 or 3 loose ends, but we do have that. So I thank you for putting those 2 men on the redevelopment
I don't
commission.
think we voted yet, have we?
Oh, we haven't voted. Oh, we haven't put them on yet. Okay, we'll have a roll call vote since it's a council appointment.
Councilwoman Rish?
Yes.
Councilman Weber?
Yes.
Councilman Shomel?
Yes.
Councilwoman Montgomery?
Yes.
Councilman Creech?
Yes.
Councilwoman Stevens?
Yes.
Okay, you have voted unanimously, 6 of you. Go ahead and put those people on there. And so put in your little books, 6 o'clock next Monday night. The attorneys will be down here, and you know what, they charge a big fee, so we're gonna try and get it all done, at least that portion of it right away.
Joint meeting,
It'll be kind of joint, I don't know if some will meet and then others will listen, but it's all gonna be done that night, right, John?
Monday?
Yeah.
24th,
Okay,
24th, and you'll get a notice from the police department.
okay.
So it's very important that every
Okay.
council person is here. Very, very important.
Is it open to the public?
Yes, it is an open door meeting. Absolutely. Okay, Mr. Sparks was here and gave the report at the Board of Works. You have the report in your, right, Melissa?
Yes.
Not sure where it is, but you have it. Okay. If you'll turn to page 2. The important thing to you is the ending balance as of today in the bank is $123,096.46. Now, if you look on the left-hand side, all these expenses come out of that. Did you short Tom his copy?
No.
Back page.
Back page.
I
Okay.
got it.
All these expenses come out. But when we consider the $123,096.46 in there, we're not considering any income from any program that's being produced by the Bicentennial. I think Julie is confident, and I am, we've been serving on the Finance and Budget Committee, that we are okay, we're financially sound. Would you agree?
I think so.
I think, or I believe.
I'm relatively certain. Cautiously optimistic.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
And I realize you and Julie have been watching this, and I truly appreciate that. Now, if there's a significant amount of money left over in this, where's it go? Does it come back to the city?
I'll tell you what would happen. I think this is, I'm telling you right. The Bicentennial Committee would probably make suggestions to the Board of Works, and the money would be spent in some manner, hopefully for something good in the city. Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta remember, the foundation put $50,000 in this. If there was a bunch of money, I'd like to see maybe a scholarship in memory of that, and something maybe in the park. Who would have the final say-so, Mr. Baker, since we have to foot the bill if it's broke? Who would have the final say-so?
The Board of Works.
Board of Works?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I guess what I was asking was that if we had this money, since we already allocated that funds, if we wanted to put it in the park, we could do that. That's what I was asking. It wouldn't have to go back to the general fund.
Nope, it's a,
It's a separate fund altogether, isn't that right, Jess?
Yeah,
It's not,
it's not really
a
associated with
city
any of our
fund as,
accounts.
Okay.
most of this money was raised within, and I think he told us this morning they received $10,000 in the last week.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't accounted for in this report.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All we need to do on this is make a motion for consent. Since it's not an official report, it's not audited, I'd like to just make a motion for consent on this report.
So moved.
Okay, we got a motion for consent on this report for the Bicentennial Committee. We got a second. Is there any further discussion? Anybody out there? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The report goes in the record. Now, I think we've got a pending ordinance 3026, establishing fees in the park. Mike, I saw him, there he is.
Mike probably didn't even know about it. I did it.
You did it? Julie, would you take the stand?
Last year, we did an ordinance. We kind of got dinged a little bit from State Board of Accounts because our fees at the park weren't set up in ordinance form. They were only approved by the Board of Works. And when we did it, we forgot to add the day camp fees on it. So I just had asked John to do an amendment to that ordinance, and we added the day camp fees to what we had done last year.
So this is pending ordinance 2036, establishing fees in the park, an amendment to the other fees that we already
You
have.
want a motion, Your Honor? You
Yes,
want
we
to
do.
discuss or what?
Yeah, we do.
So nothing's changed? No,
Yeah, we made a.
well, added to.
We added to the day camp
No
fees.
amounts
Everything
changed.
else is the
The
same.
fees are
Your Honor?
The
Yes,
fees
the
are all the
fees
same.
remain the same.
Second saying, I'd like to make a motion, we pass pending ordinance 3026.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to pass pending ordinance 3026, establishing fees in the park. On first reading, is there any discussion? Anybody? None appearing, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Would you like to suspend the rules?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to suspend the rules to consider pending ordinance 3026 on third and final reading, establishing fees in the park. Any discussion? All in favor of suspension of rules only, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Then we can move on if you'd like.
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to consider pending ordinance 3026 on third and final reading, establishing fees in the park. We'll have, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. You've done that. Pending ordinance 3027, this is holiday pay and specialty pay. Is this from additional appropriation for EMS? Okay,
These were some things that were agreed to in the contract last year that I didn't have budgeted for, that were put in at the end of the year.
and this is a public hearing, right?
Yes.
I'll open the public hearing to the public. Is there anybody like to discuss that issue? It's 25,000 and 24,000. Special pay is 24 and holiday pay is 25. Anybody at all? Third time. Anybody want to discuss that? We will close the public hearing and let the record show we had it. On pending ordinance 3027, holiday pay and specialty pay, what's your pleasure?
Your Honor, basically what we're doing is following our contractual agreement with the EMS. Am I
Right.
correct?
Right.
Okay.
Cool. Where would that come from, Jim?
It's in the general fund.
Don't. I move we accept this.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to pass pending ordinance 3027, establishing holiday pay and specialty pay for EMS on first reading. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we could suspend the rules and consider it.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to suspend the rules and consider pending ordinance 3027, establishing holiday pay and specialty pay for EMS. On suspension of rules only, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We can move forward if you'd like.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to move forward and consider pending ordinance 3027 on third and final reading, establishing holiday pay of $25,000 and special pay of $24,000 in the EMS department.
Your Honor,
Yes,
roll call vote, please.
okay, we'll have a roll call vote. Did we have a motion?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
roll
we're
call
good.
vote.
Councilman Weber,
Yes.
Councilman Shomel,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montgomery,
Yes.
Councilman Creech,
Yes.
Councilwoman Stevens.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rish.
Yes.
You have passed that 6-0, that stands. We have a like ordinance, pending ordinance 3028. If you remember, this was fire gear that we showed you last time. We wanted to order 6 sets of fire gear at $11,000. You allowed us to advertise for a public hearing, so open the public hearing on fire gear at $11,000 coming from the general fund. Is there any discussion from the public? On second time, any discussion from the public? Third, is there any discussion from the public? Feel free to talk about this if you'd like. None appearing, I'll close the public hearing and allow the record to show that we've closed the public hearing. I'll throw it to the city council for consideration.
I move we accept pending ordinance 3028.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor that we consider pending ordinance 3028, allowing $11,000 for fire gear, 6 sets. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Would you like to suspend the rules and consider it on third and final reading?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor for suspension of rules, and on suspension of rules only. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You can move forward if you like.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor to consider pending ordinance 3028, allowing $11,000 from the general fund for appropriation of fire gear. Would you like a roll call vote?
Please.
Okay, roll call vote.
Councilman Shomel,
Yes.
Councilwoman Montgomery,
Yes.
Councilman Creech.
Yes.
Councilwoman Stevens,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rish,
Yes.
Councilman Weber.
Yes.
You have passed that, and that is a done deal, $11,000. Public forum. We'll open this up to the public for discussion on any issue. That's you. Come forth, both of you if you'd like. These people live down on Second, and they have come to my office many, many times. We've been trying to work with them. We call it the Big Red House. I think all of you are aware of it down there. David's been down there. But you go ahead and tell your story about the house.
The house is just ran down, there's cats living in there, the roof's rode up. If there's a good windstorm, that roof's gonna blow off of
Metal
there.
roof,
It's
half
a-
of it's gone, and when the wind blows, it just flaps.
Is that Second and Grand?
No, second nickel.
Nickel?
Yeah.
I'm familiar with that.
And then there's been people in there taking stuff out of the house. I think Dave, remember when the refrigerator? They left it laying half in the house and half on the sidewalk. It just is a mess down there, and we just bought a house, and we're trying to clean it up.
Tell them
Put
what
new-
you've done to your house.
We put new siding, new windows, redid the whole inside. It looks nice down there. I don't know if any of you's been down there.
I know you get tired of me telling you, but this is another situation where these people have to live next to a dump. They've been coming to me, I've been sympathetic, we've tried to do what we can. The only way we can fix it is to appropriate money and take it down and clean it up. I know that you indicated to me that's not what you guys want to do, and I told them to come here and talk to the council, that I've gone as far as I can go.
But it's not a real big house. It's not, I don't think it'd take as much to tear that down as it will some of the other ones.
Can we do it with our own equipment, Dave?
Yeah, we've been down it several times. We just got done mowing it 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Is it a two-story?
No, it's just a one story.
What about the owner?
The owner is, the owner that owns a lot of them just went bankrupt and foreclosed on and,
Is it through court and ready to tear down?
no. No, and we discussed plywood, putting plywood on the windows and stuff, but the cost it would, we can do that, but you're gonna have some cost tied up in plywood and everything else. It really needs to be taken down, but
This is
Can we
court.
take it down without a court
No.
order? Cannot? Okay.
No, we have to have a court order.
We something up, instead of boarding up the windows, just take that money and put it towards tearing it down. Why you're gonna tear the plywood up anyway, taking the house down, so just take it down.
Okay, let's,
How long before you can get a court order?
take about 90 days.
Well, it depends on whether or not the owner is a resident or we have to serve by publication. It takes longer by publication.
He's not a resident, is he, Dave?
I'm not too sure where he's living.
You
I
can't
think he
seem to
lives
find
in,
him.
If we have no,
He lives here,
he's living in.
we send it to the last address.
but he's
Yeah,
filed
yeah.
bankruptcy and he doesn't.
Yeah, and he's been foreclosed on most of his property.
Well, he's probably still the owner, title owner.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they have.
But he has no, he told me he didn't have anything to do with any of these properties anymore.
Did the bank actually go through a
But I
foreclosure?
think, if I recall, so his properties are all in different.
I think the bank washed their hands of that, didn't they?
Pardon?
The bank washed their hands of that.
I don't
I don't know why the
I'd have to
bank
go back
would
and check the
foreclose
record
it.
on that.
I'm surprised if they would foreclose if it's that bad a shape, because they don't want the
I'll pull the
liability.
record and I'll get with John, see if we can get something rolling on it.
Is this something you want to appropriate money to clean up, or what
What
would
kind of
you?
expense are we talking about in sharing this one?
I think we're talking probably $8,000 to $10,000.
I was gonna say about 10, at least
Well,
10,000.
because of the dumpsters.
I think we
I-
should tear it down.
I thought we had said 5 at one point.
No,
that it was
that's never
on
been.
the average of 5
It's got a
per
basement.
house.
Got a personal basement.
Yeah.
That one has a basement?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
noticed
I've never
that
heard
one.
it's
bigger
not,
than
it,
5,000.
we would have to haul fill into the basement because there's nothing there we can use to fill with. Well, I'm willing to do whatever you tell me to do.
John, should we not follow the proper procedure so we don't jump in and tear somebody else's property down?
We must, yeah, we have to give the notices and the.
Okay.
Tom, I haven't been wanting to go through court because it costs money to go through court. If we're not gonna do it, we're not gonna take it through court. It costs too much money.
How much does it
If you
cost?
wanna do that, we'll pursue it.
Around 8,000.
Does it really?
We were talking about money going through court.
I don't know, it doesn't require much to get a judgment.
Well, it takes your time and.
Well, yeah, my
and
time's,
court time.
that's, I'm on house counsel.
Big bucks.
But the,
But you know, we got
cost
a lot
is
of stuff
demolition.
going. Thomas the Train, you got the Polar Express, you got all that stuff coming down through there.
You got that archaeological dig right across the street.
Yeah, right
from
across
it.
the street coming up.
I'm just mostly worried about the roof, the way the wind blows and that metal roof flaps.
Well, we can't touch it until the court tells us we
I
can.
think also, Mayor, I think we have been mowing the yard.
It's been mowed once and it's back up where it needs it again.
Right.
if it's an emergency and a dangerous situation to the health and welfare of the citizens, we can take whatever action is necessary to secure the roof, for example, if it's obviously a danger. And you would have to make that decision.
Well, the roof is peeling back, it's still like a metal roof on it, I'm not gonna recall.
Yeah, and it's
And
all
the corners,
moving.
it's just starting to roll off. And of course, underneath, the what shingles and stuff are all rotten, you know, it's just, you can see the inside.
Yeah.
Cause
Yeah.
we just put that new siding on our house. Guess the wind comes, well, if it blows it into my new siding, who's gonna pay for that? You know?
I don't think we have a choice. I think we have to do it now.
David, Joe, do you know roughly the dimensions of the house?
No, I don't.
I'd say it's about, just guessing, about 40 by 25 or 30.
Yeah,
something like that.
30 by 40 roughly, but I don't know what actually it is. but that's
4-room,
close.
5-room, those small?
It's probably a
Maybe
two-bedroom. I think it's a two-bedroom, two
It
small
might be a little big
bedrooms.
than that, so.
The biggest thing is, Tom, we'd have to fill the hole, and that costs money to buy this stuff, fill the hole.
The chain link fence around it, you need to take that up and just clear the lot off. There's a shed in the back of it, it's all needs to be cleared in the middle.
Our problem is, once we do this, we can put a lien on it of $5,000 because it's a single dwelling. And we lose about 10,000, and then find somebody that'd be willing to come and buy it. And of course, even after we tear it down, if we get a court order, it still belongs to the original owner. So you have to deal with him or her to buy it. So it's a bad deal for the city. It's a really bad deal for you, and I understand it. I wouldn't want to live next to it.
I think it's been up for tax sale or something, but it didn't go.
No, nobody's gonna buy that.
I have a question. Of course, it's in my district, and, I mean, I'd like to see it happen, obviously, but as would everybody who has one in their neighborhood. But, how does this rank as far as the list? Because this list has been compiling for a long time now,
You mean,
right?
From the worst houses?
Yeah,
It's one of the
I mean,
worst.
it is. So, I mean, is there like a scale, like if you'd say a two-bedroom house costs this much with a basement and then no basement, is it, I mean, obviously it's more or less?
No.
Doesn't have a
it's just
basement?
on the condition of the house itself.
Getting rid of this stuff is the expense. It's expensive. Them dumpsters are about what, Tom, for?
Because,
Anywhere from $450 to $800.
Could we avoid the dumpsters like we talked about before by the city trucks hauling the stuff?
Well,
yeah, because the last one that we did not approve was so much because we were not able to do that ourselves, right? I mean,
Well, the other one's two-story brick. This one's
well,
up.
we
This
got
is
3 or
Right.
4 that need to be taken down.
Yeah, there is.
But can't you just put the brick down in the basement, then fill in on top of that?
And we gotta keep, what you gotta do is you gotta separate it. You can't bury any wood or anything that's combustible, and that's the hard thing. It takes more labor than just getting rid of it and filling it in. To separate it's very difficult. Do you wanna appropriate some money to do this, provided we get a court order, or what do you wanna do?
That's
That's what I wanna do,
You wanna make a motion to that effect?
yes.
To start on the court process?
I'm sorry?
To start on the court process? You're making a motion?
You wanna make a motion just to
I
start?
make a motion if we get permission from the court
Okay.
to tear this thing down. I wouldn't wanna live next to it, I'm familiar.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion that we start this through the court process.
I appreciate it.
Everybody understand the motion? Motion and a second. Now, remember, once we go through this, then you're gonna have to fund it, the tear down.
I know that.
Okay.
I think you said probably be 10,000.
We'll get some exact bids once we get a court order. We'll find out, we'll get 2 or 3 bids.
Still a couple police cars.
Okay. On, the motion here would be to, go ahead and have John start on the paperwork to get this to come in, either into compliance or dispose of it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We'll get started.
Thank you,
Now,
guys.
remember, it takes a little bit of time.
Okay.
Okay, but we'll push it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else in the public forum tonight? Anything else at all under public forum? Ruby, you have anything?
No, I think we took care of our problem.
Okay. I would like to recognize that the President of the United States has sent a nice letter over here about the bicentennial. And the state of Indiana, the legislature, has sent a nice thing over here about the bicentennial. They sent 2 copies. One copy will hang in the bicentennial office. These 2 copies will hang here in City Hall. I've been pretty much letting the girls tell me how they want things hung because they think they're better at it than I am.
They are.
Who said that?
Thank you, Ruby.
Anything else under public forum? We'll close that portion. Let's go to our department reports. Of course, you know we don't have an EDG director. I think I pretty much gave you the scoop. We got several projects we're working on. The project I'm excited about is the one that we're going to meet on next Monday night. If this project comes to fruition, I think the whole town will be happy, and jobs will grow up there year after year, and it's going to be a great thing for all of us. So keep praying, keep your toes crossed. There's days when I think we've lost it, and then there's days when it comes through. David and I were able to have lunch with one of the principals Saturday, and we just had a wonderful meeting, would you say?
All 3 days were good.
So, that's pretty much the EDG report, if it's okay with you. They're still looking for a director, and Mr. Hodges is president, but he doesn't want to be. He was vice president, he's serving until they can elect a president. Street Department.
As I said this afternoon, as you're reading the reports, I'm sure everybody's read them, but anyway, we try to keep busy. As I said this afternoon, we're gonna pick up trash on the 4th of July. I'll have one driver to pick up trash so we don't get out of sequence. Something else I had really forgotten about to mention today, on Friday, we'll do recycles on Friday the 5th. And I think that will match up with everybody. And so we don't get anybody too far out of it. Because recycling has picked up a little bit to where it's a lot to try to pick up in one day with 2 weeks worth. So we're gonna do that this time. As some of you know, Grand Avenue from 15th to 6th is tore up. It's milled today and be paved tomorrow, and Wednesday should be done Wednesday afternoon, evening sometime. If it doesn't rain, now they're talking rain tomorrow now, so.
I thought we were going to have 2 nice days.
Yeah, but we'll all go on the news, there's gonna be a chance to rain tonight and tomorrow now, so that came out of nowhere. So anyway, the Grand is tore up until Wednesday, if rain be Thursday, so. Anybody have any questions?
We're also paving 12th over to Central.
Yeah, it's between, I forgot that.
Dave,
It's already milled too.
where you at on this, on the big heavy trash pickup?
We're not doing it this month, and I've had calls after call, but we're gonna see what we can do to resume it again in July, so we'll see how things go, but, we'll do it at the end of July, but nothing in
We
June.
didn't want a bunch of stuff sitting out there.
No, I know, but that's.
And what I plan on doing next week is taking some trips and we'll make sure the city's clean for the bicentennial. We'll do some things that way, but
I know you guys think that Job is my son, my brother, because I know you think he got rich on Carbon Motors, as does the newspaper, made $11,500 in 4 years. But I want to tell you something. Without Job, this last month, this economic development project wouldn't be as far along as it is. He has tried to be at the park. We paved up there. We put in new drainage lines. The basement flooded every time we were in water. We got that all corrected. He's worked every place I ask him to work, and I tell him I want the downtown painted. I want the yellow lines and the white lines. I want it pretty. We're trying to build a restrooms over at the park. He's had heavy equipment over there. But on Saturday this week, we have the economic development prospect in here. My back feels terrible. I'm about half sick with it. And Joby, I said, you don't have to work Saturday, Joby. He said, I wouldn't leave you. And he was there and met me with the people from the company. Joby has a way of getting people to like him. And it's like...
He does?
I do. My mom and grandma.
Brian Coates used to tell me, every time we get somebody in here looking at us, we need to make friends with them, because it's hard to say no to friends. And Mr. Baker, you've been in on all of these negotiations. What do you think our highest point has been? Is it our location, our friendliness, our people, our money, our building? What is it you think that's put us over the top?
Oh, I think two things. The way those folks have been treated by all concerned here in town, and also the location is exactly where they want to be, and other things that you mentioned as well, but I think those are the two most important ones.
We've made friends with them, and I think they're doing everything they can to want to come here. So I do want you to look with kindness on David. I don't know what I'd do without him. I swear I don't know what I'd do without him. And it's just the truth. And
What'd you do with all that $11,000?
All right, you're done.
Actually, I got something for you. I really think that the large trash pickup was great and everything, but hindsight's always 20/20, and I just have a small little gripe about, if we had to do it over, I would wish that we didn't do large trash pickup so soon after a holiday weekend, going back to Memorial Day.
But then you go through the year,
I
and
know.
how do you skip?
But it was
Used to do it in the
awful.
spring with Easter, and that was a pain too.
But if we did it on the month, I know, but it was so close to the holiday weekend. In my neighborhood on Canyon Parkway, we had a family move out of a house, and they left it there for a week, and it was awful. We even had people adding to the pile, so we had to look at it all
But
the
you try to
holiday
do things
weekend.
like this the same time,
I know.
time after time. You know, you try to pick it up this or do this or do that, the same day or at the same time of the month.
We even
Just
had
for
it,
reputation
and
for
I
some of the
thank
folks.
Tom, we even had it arranged. I went over and politely asked them to take it to the transfer station for free, and Tom, was gonna allow that, but they
And
didn't.
we can do
They
that.
walked
I've done
away
that
from the
many times,
house,
too, just
so.
to help out folks. Like the people with the yellow house on East Street Hill, they called me and bought that, and I said, whatever it takes, you've done something to the community, and there's no way you're gonna stop me from, and Tom's the same way, to try to help you to straighten up a property.
Mm-hmm.
And my God, how many people would have bought that house? So those two ladies did, and I'm tickled to death for them. So you try to help the ones that help themselves.
Right.
They help the community, we need to step forward and help those.
Right.
I mean, that's just the long and the short of it.
We'll resume heavy trash, and we'll try to stay away from the holidays, but we'll work on that. Let's get through this bicentennial.
Right, that's-
No couches sitting around.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you all very much.
Cost of operating the street department in May, $120,735.79.
And I can tell you, they earned every penny of it. They worked like troopers. We had them every place. Transfer station, Soupy or Tom?
Yeah, you have the report in front of you, have any questions?
How much has recycling gone up, Tom?
I would say on average, which is significant, I'd say probably 4 to 5 ton a month.
Yeah, it's usually 41 tons, 46 this
Yeah,
month.
I
this
would,
time.
you know.
That's
that-
good.
Continue to go up?
I'm sorry?
Does it keep continuing to go up, or is it leveled off?
It's, for a long time it run between 38 and 41 ton, and I think this 46, I think more and more people, I think are starting to understand, you use that recycling bag, that big container, it's like that, it'll be overflowing.
David, how hard would it be to give us a number of houses you stop at on recycling? I'd be interested in knowing what percentage of the residents, it doesn't have to be exact,
Yeah, because I don't have a counter per se. We
but
got- I'm gonna count
but an
it.
estimate of how many people, 1 out of 8, 1 out
I'll
of
try to
10.
get that Thursday.
I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Fire department.
Okay, thank you. I will. Let's man up, tell you about
We had 92 runs, 292.5 hours on emergencies during the month, 15 inspections, 6 investigations, 5 pre-planning trips, 174 hours of training. In May, we finished our spring cleaning, started on our physicals, and started getting ready for the bicentennial. We toured some local industries and the jail. Used part-time for 10 days.
We're likely to be reimbursed by the insurance company on the Webster Street matter because of supplies used and manpower.
Yeah.
We, it's considered a commercial spill, and we have kept track of every man-hour, every penny, everything that we've paid out. And Julie has someone in the office calculating, you got every penny.
department heads are doing it.
Are they doing it? Okay.
And we're gonna help go through here.
But we're keeping track of everything.
Good.
We're dealing with the insurance company, and I forget the name of it.
Iron Shore.
Okay.
Troy, you ready for me to jump on you?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I would like to congratulate you and your entire staff on that spill. You know, if the guys hadn't known what they were doing, as that gentleman said, they could have been washing that paint thinner down the drain instead of using foam to compress it, and thank you very much.
You're welcome. The biggest danger was really the flash points were so low, but the guys had just trained the day before on foam.
We could have been on CNN real easy, and I'm glad that we weren't.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the Channel 6 News did interview me, and I plugged the bicentennial, but they didn't put it on.
We appreciate it.
I need to go into something. Can I keep going?
Yeah.
Me and Phil's we're having a problem with the engine. It's repeatedly in the garage. Today we lost the transmission in the truck that we were having trouble with. It's 33 years old. It's actually titled as a 2000 because it was a refurb. When you refurb a truck, you should refurb trucks that's 5 or 6 years old, and we did one that was too old. And basically it was a cab and frame rails. Well, we was hoping we would make it into farther into the year, and we would, start looking. We've been looking at used trucks, and we started looking at new trucks. The biggest fire truck and equipment show was FDIC, but about 2 months before that, Phil had talked to me, and we thought, well, how can we afford when we get to this point? Because we're not going to get a grant on that truck because it has to be 20 years old to really get accepted for a grant. And it's considered 2000, but actually it's 33 years old. So what we did was we looked at what it would cost to replace it with a basic engine. A basic engine new price was going to be between $350,000 and $400,000. So what we did, we looked at, asked them what they had as far as demos and long-term leases. So today when this came up, I dug up, this happened at 4:30, I dug up the lease papers that we looked at. I just wanted you to be aware of, if we lease a truck with anywhere like this truck here, Pierce puts trucks at all the NASCAR tracks, and they put the basic pumpers. This truck had a price of around $380. We can buy it for $299, And on a 10-year lease, we would be around $35,000 a year. So I just wanted to put that out there, but we are gonna really have to consider purchasing a truck. At this point, I don't think we should put $4,000 or more into a transmission in a truck that's not gonna bring us 8 or 10,000. I don't know what we're gonna do, so.
I been looking at these trucks with him, and I think what we should do is do a lease purchase like we did the trash truck. The only problem with, in order to buy that truck that's a demonstrator, we have to take bids because it's over the amount. So we have to take bids on the trucks, but Elon's got one and Pierce has got one.
And KME.
We could talk them into giving us bids. But right now, we're without a fire truck, because I don't think, it's really $8,000 we're gonna have to put into it. It's been down more than it's up. And what happened when they refurbished it, they took and they made it a truck that you used to ride on the back and put a cab on it, because the firemen had to ride inside now because of the OSHA laws. They didn't do anything else as far as upgrading the chassis. So we're running with a 1979 truck. And if you've ever ridden even in a 79 car, they're obsolete. And I don't think the tires are wore out. It doesn't keep going. And I think what we ought to do is get rid of it. I think we ought to bite the bullet and ask these three companies to bid these three pumpers that they got in stock that are demonstrating. They're 12s, aren't they?
A couple of them are 13s, actually,
Are
they're
they?
13s, but yeah.
Is there any way we could apply for a grant?
We have, Nancy. We won't get a grant because our truck, because it shows that it's a 2000 because we refurbed it. And it has to be 20 years old in order to get a grant, so we can't. We get turned down in just
It's
a few
only about
minutes.
33 years old, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 33.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
The other two trucks are old too, but they're holding their own, but now we're wearing on them because they gotta come from Third Street, they gotta come from over there. I think it's time we bite the bullet and take these bids, buy the truck on the 10-year plan. If I'm lucky, if we're lucky, and Vistion will be off of our shoulders, we'll eliminate that insurance money up there, which is almost $100,000. We'll eliminate the upkeep, we'll eliminate the light bill, the water bill. Now, this is all speculative, of course. We could well afford it. We don't put any money in our budgets for any replacement of any equipment. And we don't do any depreciation. We just buy it when we have to. We react when we have to. Most towns have got money put back for police cars, fire trucks, and all the different things. And certainly, we haven't been spendthrift. Our trucks are all old, our equipment's old. This truck will probably bring $1,000 on the market, the white cab truck, with the transmission out of it. I think that if I was on the council tonight, I'd say let's bite the bullet, let's buy the truck, let's do it on the plan. If we're lucky enough, we can pay it off sooner. But we have an opportunity here to get one of the three. I'd prefer the Pierce, because I know the Pierce, and I've worked with the guys. I was on the committee when we bought the last one. But we gotta have a fire truck downtown, and we certainly don't wanna run the big truck. We've been running the big truck. If you notice, this month, there's no miles. We put 3 sets of tires on that big ladder truck since we've owned it, because we've gotta run it when the little truck's down. And we should be running a pumper around town for trash fires and all these things. And it should be downtown. That's what I think we should do. I'm opening up for discussion with you. We're also gonna have to buy an ambulance. They're both over at the doctor's office now. And every time we have that ambulance down, we have to take the whole cab off of it to work on it. I've talked with the county commissioners, they agree, but we're waiting. We do have a grant in, and there's a possibility. We haven't been turned down on the grant, so we've got some prices ready, but we're looking at maybe getting a grant for it, but we'll only have to pay half of it, because the county commissioners will.
Your Honor, if we weren't fortunate enough to acquire a grant for an ambulance, what would our half be for an ambulance? Ballpark?
About 80,000, then it'd be about 8,000. It's a 10% match.
Well, no, I think if we don't get the grant.
If you don't get the
It'd be around 80, that would be our half.
Give or take.
We would do that on a lease purchase too. And remember, we still owe on the other one, so we gotta take that into consideration. We got taken real bad on that one. I wasn't driving the ship then, so I won't take credit for that. You weren't either.
Is it possible if we get these 3 bids that we could get them in competition?
There'll be competition.
I mean,
They'll give us their best bid. But I think while they've got these trucks available, I think we ought to ask them to bid.
I'll make them, I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor and a second, that we ask them to bid on these 3 pumpers that we're looking at replacement. They won't spend any money till we get the bid.
We
So,
have to advertise for that, so
yeah, we'll have to advertise.
it'll take a few weeks.
That gets.
Oh, wait a minute now. Will we have to advertise if we take bids? We won't have to advertise until we ask for additional appropriation, appropriate the money.
Oh, we have to take bids first.
Yeah, but I know, but even just to advertise, even just to take bids, we've got to
I think that has
advertise?
I thought you
specifications.
had to
don't we?
advertise for bids in case
We do.
someone wanted to,
All
from
right.
Timbuktu wanted to
Oh,
bid
you
on
can-
it.
We have to advertise.
Yes,
for
we do.
anything
We have
over
to advertise because of the amount
$150,000.
involved.
Well, I know that, but I thought, well, we're just gonna see where we are, what our ballpark is. We have to,
Don't we
That
have
was
to-
the question on the demo, do you advertise on demos?
See,
Since
we have to
they're
give
specific
everybody a chance to
deal.
bid by advertising. We have to give everyone a chance to bid by advertising.
We have to advertise
All
specs,
right.
don't we?
Everyone needs to know that we're looking for a fire truck.
all right, so Nancy, can your motion be that way?
Yes.
Word it that way and we'll
Advertise.
advertise. Talk to the companies and see, tell them what we're doing.
Okay.
Okay, we have a
They
motion
can
on the
bid
floor.
demos, so.
Any discussion further? Anybody out there? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Let's start looking.
Do we use that truck in the spill?
It was actually broke down.
Okay.
No, it wasn't actually broke down, it was, engine 4 was being maintained, and rescue responded, it was setting in engine 4, so no.
Okay, all right.
That's a truck that the month before when a friend questioned me about overtime, and I said fire truck, that was the truck. That's why we spent overtime.
I'd hate to tell you how much we spent in the last 3 or 4 years on that truck, trying to keep it going.
Quite a bit, I see it more often than they do.
Troy, you have specs on what you, as
Yeah.
well as
Yeah, and it was denied a grant because of the reason that it was considered a 2000 this year.
Who decides that? The year, how it's, who decided to put 2,000 on that?
Well, they go by NFPA standards, and they basically state that trucks should last 20 years, fire trucks should last 20 years. Can't remember the number, the standard, I have it if you'd like to see it, but most of ours do. I mean, like the snorkel and, you know, and this truck lasts 20 years, we just shouldn't have put the money in it like we did.
And that money was put in a long time ago. It was put in,
99.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he'd give us 13 more years, but
okay, thank you.
Thanks, Troy.
Cost of operating the fire department, $202,192.87. Troy, your overtime, you have people on vacation, the overtime's not all that bad, 3,200.
2,500.
We're keeping it down with part-time people, right?
Yeah.
EMS.
Okay, for the month of May, our total operating was $26,924.28. For the year, it was $140,195.86. And we've made 206 runs for the month and 1,022 for the year. Any questions?
Dale, I was at the street department today taking a lead lateral over there, but anyway, I noticed the one ambulance was there, as the mayor says, in the hospital. How many, operational ambulances do we have right now?
2.
Just 2?
We have the little one, and we have the middle size, and then
Okay.
the big ones over there. Phil was hoping to have all the parts in today to
Okay.
put it back together.
You know, we always do that. We work on these darn things, and we never consider Phil's time and Zach's time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's terrific, but we got a lot of overtime. And Fran asked about that truck last
Yeah,
night.
it-
All that
it has to
overtime
be
is
done.
in.
It need- You know, it has to be done now,
Yeah.
you know.
Any
Thank you, Bill.
questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Parks Department.
Monthly report, revenue, $19,587. Day camp fees starting to roll in, pool admissions and concessions. Monthly expenditures, spent $55,393. Big expenditure this month was $5,900 for pool chemicals. And also Sherman Williams, $600 for paint. We actually painted amphitheater seating, not picnic tables. It's wrong on the sheet. Activity programming, pool open Memorial Day. It was actually a pretty good weekend considering it was pretty bad weather for a pool. People still came in and we're having a pretty good year so far. And I don't even believe we really hit the heat of the summer yet. Summer Discovery, 124 kids has been registered. Roberts Building, the rededication was Saturday. We had around 275 people attend.
It was Friday.
Friday, I think it went very well. People seemed pretty impressed. We was able to get that main sidewalk and the pavement done around the building before that event, which was nice. Thanks to the street department.
Nice.
Right now, we're just working on the remainder of the sidewalk right now. I was hoping to pour some tomorrow, but that may be delayed until Wednesday. And just a few things on the inside, curtains and a couple doors, but we're coming to the end now with that building. And like everybody else, starting bicentennial cleanup. Any questions?
Is the Summer Discovery 124 up or down, or?
About the same. We have 110, 115 last year, so
Okay.
it's about the same.
Well,
Longwood Bridge sure looks pretty.
Oh, yeah, Longwood Bridge was painted. Forgot about that.
It's really pretty.
We got the cameras on it, so
Has that helped?
Oh, yes.
we haven't had any damage yet. so-
Oh, all right,
No,
good.
I can tell you that we have cameras, I think, John, how many now?
I lost count.
16?
Those are a bunch.
Yeah, we've got cameras all over the park. If you do some damage up there, we'll see your face.
so be careful, Gary.
Infrared.
Yeah, that's right, I know.
If you go up there damaging it,
Yeah.
they'll catch you.
Stealthing it.
Spray paint.
We
That's
got the
right.
spray paint off, and I don't want to see any more spray paint. I do want to show you though, on, when you know, the parks are run pretty efficient. This is what you're giving back to your people. You know, we collect their trash, we keep them safe, we put out their fires, but this is what you're giving back. And I love the park, as you all know. I get accused of loving it too much, but I go through there 1, 2, 3, 4 times a day, because Mike likes me to stop and talk to him.
Yes, I did, Mike.
Did you ever go through there and see when there weren't people playing horseshoe, playing pickleball, playing tennis, having picnics, sitting in there on a table just on their computer, and
Taking up the
washing their
babes.
car,
Cool.
walking their dog? I mean, that park is used more than any park I've ever seen. And our other parks are used. The kids
It's hard to
down
get things
here-
done after 2 o'clock.
Yeah, they-
It's pretty much.
And I want to brag on our kids. We had 18 and 19-year-olds on the skid board down there on that concrete, 66 feet long, pouring concrete. I mean,
Yeah, four of the kids help with the concrete.
and they know, and they're proud of it. Now, all we got to do is keep the culprits out of there that aren't proud of it. The bridge is beautiful. I'd say it's prettier now than it's ever been.
Yeah, like the red lettering.
Yeah.
First time it's been red, I believe.
Go over there and look at it.
Is the building at Industrial Park coming along?
It's coming along.
Good.
That's all we can say. It's getting there. Give us a couple
It's
weeks.
not on
it'll be up.
schedule?
No, we're not on schedule.
No, we're about a week behind schedule.
We're gonna light a fire behind them. Police department, we still got one of those.
Oh, yeah, we're alive and well. Law reports, 1,255, citations issued were 84, ordinance violations 1, warnings issued 93, personal injury accidents 14, property damage actions 45, no fatalities and 89 arrests.
Spent $225,000 plus $889 plus
every minute of
17
it.
cents. Your gasoline is up a bit, but you couldn't
Oh,
control
why is
that.
that?
It's totally up $5,000 for totaling $11,610 for gasoline.
Any questions from anyone else?
Did you get the new cars?
Pardon?
Did you get the new cars?
Yes,
Yeah.
Are they in,
We buy used cars.
I know, did you get the new used cars? Did
Yes, we
they-
got the used cars.
Are they,
They're on the street.
they are, okay. They're working well?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're nice cars, push bumpers on them, nice cars. Got cages in them we've never had before, the nicest cages.
Yeah, we got them when we bought the used cars last year.
Yeah. I think we're doing the right thing, so we let somebody else take the, and we buy 3 for 1.
It's very convenient though to get a car and all we have to do is put our radios and markings on and go. And we'll get, you know, the one had 62,000 miles on it, and we'll run that thing for another 62,000. So, and since we have take-home cars, you know, they don't, they're driven by one person.
Right.
And for their shifts, and they park 2 days a week, or when they're on vacation, and they're not being run 24/7. We're milking them out pretty good.
Those blue cars that we bought, if you remember, we bought them about $1,100 a piece. We run them for 5 years.
We paid, yeah, you're right.
About $1,100 a piece.
Yeah.
And we run those dudes, and now we're just now got rid of them.
Well, we got 2 left.
Oh, do we? Yeah, we're using them for
Pool cars. Yeah.
We run those for 5 years.
That's unbelievable.
And they had good tires on them. We didn't even have to buy tires.
I have a question.
Sure.
It's kind of a layman's question, and I mean, I'm just kind of observing, goes back to the spill. I know that you had police at both ends. I'm sure that on the west side, you diverted trucks Ziegler and around.
Yeah,
Or Gray Road.
but I learned that some of the trucks didn't go, turn on the Ziegler. They went on down into the county and had a heck of a time down there and had to come out on another county road. So, you know, that's going to have to, we should have had another sign down there detouring on.
Well, my question actually is on the other side. Why, I guess, my understanding would have been, why wouldn't you have had something down at the bottom of 3rd Street telling them to go out? Because didn't they go up 3rd?
They went up, no, they went up 3rd and they went out to Ranch Road, or excuse me, Ridge Road, and we jogged them around that way. And it was enough room for trucks to get through there and everything. We had some complaints on trucks going through there,
Yeah,
but you know, we didn't know how long this was gonna last.
yeah.
And to try to divert everyone at that point, you know,
It would have
down
required
that
2.
way,
It
I
would
mean,
have,
everybody, and you had a lot of people live up there going home.
yeah, it would have required 2 people, right? I mean,
We
one.
we probably had we probably had to call people in. As it is, we held that traffic control point with 2 people, and that was for the whole duration of when we can open the road up. And that's night and day. And we got that done basically, what, Troy, 36 hours?
Yes.
Something like that. So we had police officers out there for 36 hours straight, and fire department, you know, was doing their thing with IDM and all this. So, and like I said, it was one of those deals that if we put somebody down there, you're not gonna, it's gonna be, you might be diverting some traffic that way, like your trucks and stuff, but that's, and like you said earlier, hindsight's better than foresight, and that's something that we have to look at in the future, and probably should put somebody down to the bottom of 3rd Street Hill and route them down there and tell them to go around.
Yeah. I mean, because if there's a road closed on this side of Rushville, there are signs at the bottom of 3rd Street Hill, telling them, 18 miles ahead, it's closed. But we don't have access to those kind of signs.
Hopefully one day they'll mark.
Those would be state
That's
highways.
that's state, yeah.
Connie, that would be the state, and which I commend Dave for
Yeah.
doing what he did. But what they should have done is, if he notified the state, people would have ran up State Road 1 to US 40.
True.
If it's been a long
So
drawn out
you
thing,
done the right
it would have
thing.
been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that would have had bigger barricades, we
Oh,
would have
yeah.
ones out there and everything else, but we knew it was gonna be pretty short-lived until, and if this would have been, lasted longer than it was, and let's say they're digged all those yards up thin and replace that pipe and other things, state was ready to come in and do their thing.
Yeah.
But under the situation the way it was, they can do that, and they did bring their own traffic control in the next day. They had their own traffic people come in, and they never, I don't think they ever did block the total road, I think they just blocked one lane. And to take care of that, which, that helps out a lot too. So,
Right.
Thank you. Any
Thanks,
questions?
Dave.
thank you.
On utilities, in the water, we took in $248,241.61, and we spent out $194,114.98. Actually had a gain of $54,126.71. But if you look back in March, we lost $1,807.55. So it's nip and tuck in water. Our income's staying ahead of our expenses by about $30,000. If you go over to the sewer, we have receipts of $188,371 and expenses of $151,498, a difference of $36,872.85. And remember, there's different things that we have to maintain, bonds and all those issues. We did real good in stormwater in May, and that's what we're reporting tonight. In stormwater, we took in $70,759.50, and we only spent out $19,314.62. That's because all the major projects are paid for. We'll be dipping into that fund real hard here just as soon as we start the new project, and then we have to do 2 other projects. So with that, I wanted to go over with you tonight. We have started the sprinkling credit in June. Of course, we've already run it in June. Do you want to continue the sprinkling credit through the months of July, August, and September like last year? The average customer saved about $24 over the summer last year, and it cost the city about $73,000. If you want to continue like we are, we'll do nothing. If you want to change that, we'll either just do June, July, and August. We'll do June, July, or we'll do June, July, and August, September, what we did last year. What's your privilege?
I think 4 months is too long, and I really don't remember getting a reduction in my water bill last summer. I don't know where.
Well, you gotta use, because you live alone, you probably don't use the minimum, so you don't get up to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Someone that has 3 kids and showers and a washer and dryer probably would save an average of $6 a month.
I'm not sure how many people it would affect by it.
Well, I'd like to say that I voted no, that we did not have a sprinkling ordinance last year. So for my 2 cents, I think I'd like to say that we don't do it. And
We have to do it in
possibly-
June because we've already done it.
Only to help the fact that we may not have to have a rate increase, since it was quite considerable.
$73,000.
Well, that may delay at least the effect of having to raise
Of course, we've already agreed there'll be
utilities
no
for a
increase
while.
this year except the second half of last
Sorry.
year's. Speak up, guys. It's your pleasure.
Well, I don't mean to be argumentative, but I think we really need to do what's advantageous for utilities to the city.
Agree.
You wanna run it June and July? That's usually the driest month, July, isn't
Have a
it?
sprinkler.
I,
Drop off.
Fran, with 2 months, that be okay with you?
I'm gonna go with July and August, I think, rather than,
But we've already done June, so we can't.
but,
Well,
I mean,
at this point in time, I don't know that we could get it off in time to be in effect for July, because we'd have to do an ordinance to change it, so.
that's true.
We could take August and September off, or September off.
Can we start this process earlier next year?
Sure, you can start anytime you want to. You can do this right now for next year.
Well, I mean, just, and that's a chunk of money.
I think you could go ahead and do an ordinance saying we'll do it for
I think you need to
this next month,
decide,
and then we'll do away with it.
so it doesn't go into
completely for next
effect.
year, yeah.
Because we're sitting here
'Cause
already,
it's-
we're having to go ahead and do it.
I
That's
screwed,
kind
I
of,
screwed up last year, and we were just defeating ourselves.
Is what it does is when people water their grass and stuff, they don't pay the sewer charges on it, that their sewer charges are down. It doesn't really affect the water bill, I mean, the water charge, it's
That's
a,
correct,
Yeah,
it
but
does
you try to
affect
make
the
your
bill.
yard look good at least June, July, and August. So why drop it in August when everything dries up and then you run your plants?
We've had plenty of water in June. Maybe we should just do it July and August.
I think that would work.
But we've already done it in June, right?
For this year, yes.
Julie, can we just do it like July?
For this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could change it.
You want our city to look good,
Yeah.
now you wanna shut the water, you know.
Well, it's like Ruby says, usually August is your driest month. So probably July and August be the months you want
I
to do
think
it.
so.
A lot of people ain't moving in June.
Brandon, what do you think?
I think July and August would be fine. I
Mhm.
don't see any problem with those 2 months.
Connie? Think it's okay?
Okay, say it again. Oh,
July
no,
and
no,
Just July and
stop.
August.
I know.
We can't count June.
But the average person saves what?
About $6 a month on their water bill
For how many months?
each month.
For
So
4 months.
$24 over in the summer if you keep it 4 months. $12 if you keep it 2 months. But it would cut our losses down in half, so. We actually.
And how much did
We
we-
actually paid out $73,000 to keep the sprinkling ordinance in effect.
I can see what you're saying about trying to keep
Well,
the water bills.
But what I'm saying is how much heat we take, how much did we increase the utility bill?
It's
$4?
It goes up $4.
$4.
It went up
$4 every month for a whole year. So that's like $48, you
No,
know?
no, no,
No,
no,
you
just went up
have-
one time.
Right.
No, I
it
mean,
goes up.
$4 a
Month,
year,
yeah.
$4 a year.
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
no,
Well-
$4 a month.
a month,
Can't get it.
yeah, so like
But
$48
it doesn't,
a year.
yeah, I mean,
I think we could get an ordinance ready and we could run July and August and just cut September off this year and then next year just run July and August if you want to.
Well, that's a start, that's a start.
John, we could get that through without a problem, couldn't we? We
Oh,
have-
yeah, I suppose, if everybody votes for it.
Tell us what you want, we'll get an ordinance ready for you.
That sounds good, what you just mentioned.
July and August.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with July and August.
We'll take off September this year then, and then next year we'll just do July and August. Really, is that okay with you?
Well, it'll be June, July, and August this year.
This year?
We've already done June.
Next year, July and August only.
Yes.
All right, if you make an ordinance that way, Mr. Baker, we'll present it at the next meeting. Okay. I had a little note here, and I wanted to give you these figures. TV 3. Put it on automatic pilot.
I'm here. Well, May is always the most, that's the busiest month for us. We have a lot of stuff we do at the high school. We had 13 hours, 37 minutes of original programming, 13 hours, 18 minutes of meetings. So we were busy. And of course, we produced several other things during the month as well, so all of the high school programming up there. As well as some extra meetings, which I was just looking at. Any questions?
John, I've had several people comment, my wife and I enjoyed it too, was the promenade thing you guys did, that was very nice. Very nice.
We always produce that live each year so that
Yeah.
those who can't actually make it out to the high school, they can actually watch it at home. My wife loves it, she loves to watch it at home, see the dresses.
I have a question, it's not a big deal, but why, the council, the city council, board of works, commissioners, all of those are on twice a month?
Yes.
The county council and area planning is only on once.
That's showing how many times they have a meeting.
I'm sorry?
They just
They
meet
only
once
meet
a
once per
month.
month.
Oh, okay.
That's what that's showing. They actually air many times during that time period. So that's not reflected on here. But we do show that
I
in the,
didn't know that, I
yeah.
just,
We do show that in the annual report, how many times it runs and whatnot. But yes, we repeat them frequently. County council, for instance, airs on Fridays, 3 a.m., noon, 7 and 11 p.m., just on Friday alone.
Dave, you always watch that 3 a.m., don't you?
I got my alarm set.
I put that on. You never know when somebody's gonna wanna watch a meeting.
I think they're gonna change it next time, so I watch it every time.
Any questions about TV3?
I think some of the questions, a lot of the programs are gonna be held on the bicentennial, and I don't know which ones are gonna be covered and which ones aren't. But our elderly people and people in nursing homes will be able to.
Why did you look at me when you said elderly?
I'll wake you up, Tom.
Okay.
Well,
She fits where?
you and I are about the same age.
That's
so-
close, we go to the same home.
Yeah, we will. Do I have to go to the same nursing home with you? I'll be on a different wing. But I think it's good, and we've been discussing what programs we're gonna be able to carry. I think Fran and John are gonna try to do the soapbox derby, aren't you?
Yes.
That's gonna be hard, because I'll be up actually running the soapbox derby.
I don't,
We're working it out.
something goes wrong,
If something goes wrong, I don't know.
Mr. Weber, if you'll bring your golf cart over next Saturday, I gotta present the trophies over at the soapbox. With my back, I'm gonna have to have a place to sit.
No
So
problem.
if you'd be glad to bring it over
I
there.
would be
know you-
happy to.
I understand.
Which, I'm glad you brought that up, the soapbox derby is this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, we begin racing at 9 a.m., we'll race all day long. Sunday starts at 3 p.m.
What do you do if it's raining? It says it's gonna rain Saturday and Sunday.
Oh.
They're nuts, they don't.
They're saying 30% chance, there was a 40% chance today, it hasn't rained yet. So, we'll just, if it's just a light sprinkle or something, we're gonna keep on racing. The cars will perform just fine. On that all-American standards, allow you to race in heavy rain even, but we won't. If there's lightning, obviously, then we'll call it, have people get off the road and run to cover.
76 entrance, right?
Yes, 76 drivers in 3 classes.
That's
That is
unbelievable.
amazing.
And Fran's gonna run up and down that hill with a camera on his back?
That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, that's it.
Maybe you better ride the golf cart.
Anybody have any questions about the soapbox?
The other thing I'd like to see about soapbox derby, I appreciate what John and his group has done this year for this soapbox derby. They put a lot of hours into it. There's gonna be a lot of happy dads and grandpas that will have their cars in the race Saturday and Sunday. My Peru boys are coming down the race.
Listen, if you don't win, don't call the mayor's office.
Just stop the trophy off by the house.
Does everybody enter get some sort of consolation
Oh,
prize?
yeah, I can't tell what it is. But I would like to, while I'm here though, point out that for those who are coming to watch the races, please enter off of Gray Road onto Ziegler. So you want to come in from the west. The east side of the road, that'll be just for emergency vehicles, and the volunteer parking is over in that area.
And you forgot the most important thing, bring your own chair.
Please do bring your own chair.
No grandstands?
No grandstands.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Feel free to bring the pop-up tent if you want to. I think it's gonna be really hot.
Yeah.
So,
Has your golf cart got a cover for me?
If you want one.
I'll get you an umbrella.
That's right.
I'll need a cover.
Okay. No problem.
Thank you, John, you're doing a good job.
So we do have a cover.
Thank you.
What is that here?
Okay, we're down to old business, and I still have this fuel donation, and Troy, you gotta tell me, I've been working on so many things, I've forgotten where we are.
We spoke to her outside this morning, and she's still wanting to go forward with this project.
Has the state approved the building?
They've got to get an engineer to design the project, so they're a ways away.
Would you advise this council to put the 9,400 in, or would you advise us to wait?
You're gonna have to wait till it goes through state, because you don't know if it'll be approved.
So it's gonna go.
So you're months away, I would think.
Right. Because it's only real steep spot.
Okay. Council, is that what you wanna do? I keep putting this forth on old business for you.
Is that 3122 in the ordinance?
Yes,
How long is it?
Yeah, we have to wait, as I understand it.
we certainly can. You can vote this ordinance out and wait until they would have to request another donation.
Yeah, I think we should do that since
Yes.
it's gonna be a
I
while.
need a motion to do that.
I'll make the
then.
motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to rescind pending ordinance 3122 to a later date. Is that legal, John?
I'm not sure what you're doing.
We're going, we've had this motion on an ordinance pending, and we've tabled it about 4 times. Can we just drop it and start over?
This is for the fuel thing at the old pattern shop there that they'd like to move into.
Well, I think what you need to do is pass an ordinance to not fund as you were intending to fund.
Well, they may want to eventually, though. Then they
Well, then I
start.
would say table it and keep it tabled. There's no harm in that.
All right.
Just
Make a
table
motion
it,
to table it.
but we don't have to bring it back up every
No,
month.
only when it's appropriate.
I move we table it.
Second.
Got a motion and we table pending ordinance 3122. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I'm at the end of the agenda. You have anything, Nancy, you want to bring up?
No.
Tom?
I'm good.
Thank you.
I'm good.
Debbie? And Fran?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Dr. Weber?
Well, I do. Since you brought it up, the golf cart issue, I've had people call me and they want to know why we don't have the golf cart.
Can I answer that, Mayor?
Yep.
Hey, wait a minute. If we're not gonna consider this tonight, it's already 8:30. Just sit down, we'll consider it on another day.
I'm not gonna consider it tonight. I don't wanna consider it
All
tonight.
he did is he said he's got people called and asked why we
Well,
don't
to
have it.
answer your question, and when we talked about this several years
Yeah.
ago, the state come in and pull a law and kind of put a damper on everything. If you want to drive a golf cart, it's gotta be licensed just
Right.
like a car,
Right.
insured like a car,
Right.
windshield wipers, the whole ball
Right.
wax.
Well, now I'm
Okay.
not so sure about windshield wipers, but,
The point of the matter is, then if this council approves something like that,
right,
that's up to them, but them things have to have insurance,
Right.
license plates and everything.
right,
They're going to be licensed like a car,
Right.
insured like a car.
right. Well, I mean, that's got no bearing on what I'm,
I like to bring something up. I know wherever you throw that in my face all the time. I know who you mean. But let me
I'm
tell
not
you,
throwing it in
I am
anybody's
for it.
face.
I am for it. If you get your license plates, you get insurance and things on it.
I think you have to now because of state law.
Well, that's why I was so against it before.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you 100%.
You know, I have to have my little three-wheeler inspected, and I like it. I think golf carts is fine, but I think you gotta have insurance and ride it where you should.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with
And
you
before, that
totally.
was not on the table.
I think, was insurance on it?
I don't recall.
I can't remember, but, well,
Headlights or nothing was on it.
well, headlights were, and I think
I wasn't
taillights
in.
were. But my only issue, I want to bring it up again because I've had people
Well, that's
say
good.
it.
I'm for it if they do all that.
And yeah, we want to follow the state, and if you want to even be more strict than state, I'm fine with
Maybe
it.
it will trade mine in.
You might. And, I mean, because we are the only city and town around that doesn't have it.
Well, do these other cities have these rules with windshield
Some do,
wipers?
I think Hagerstown has an understanding. They don't have the actual ordinance, but Brookville does, Cambridge City does, Rushville does, Franklin does, not Franklin, Brookville does.
This is Fayette.
It doesn't matter if it's Fayette or not. I mean, it's,
I'll give you a copy of the law.
that's fine. I have no problem with the law. I mean, I want to stick by the law, but I mean, it's pretty silly not
Before we
to.
just talk about golf.
Just golf carts, not ATVs or anything like that, just golf carts. And I did check, there hasn't been an accident, so that's not an issue. And it's just one of those things that I've had many people ask me why we don't have them.
When you get it licensed, insurance,
Well, all I want to do is make a motion to bring it up, to discuss it today. I don't want to go over it tonight, because there are people who want to talk about it who asked to be here.
You are a council person, and you can ask for an ordinance of any type that you want.
Yeah, I'm just asking to discuss it. I would like to have a second for a motion to put it on the agenda for next time, because there are people who want to come in, who want to talk about it. And by that time, I'll have exactly the law. There are no windshield wiper laws, but the headlights were on there last time, taillights were on there last
Dr. Weber,
time.
what are you asking for?
Motion,
You want
to bring it up to speak about it
You
next
don't, you
time.
don't need that,
You don't
Dr. Weber.
Oh.
You're a councilman, you can ask
Oh.
John to draft an ordinance of any type you want.
Well, I've already drafted one.
Oh, we already have one, but it would probably have to be updated, right? Because
I'd have to-
the license are not on there for
You have the
us.
right to do that. You don't have to ask.
Okay,
any
so,
official.
well, I don't want to do an ordinance because it's not ready for it.
or have a permit on them where you're allowed to put them on.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But you can bring up anything you want to.
Well, I bring
anytime.
that up to be discussed next time.
That's good. We'll
Okay.
put him on the agenda under new business.
Oh, well, that's all it was to it?
Oh, it's easy.
Okay, cool. That's cool. Okay, forget the second.
Okay,
You forgot me.
Windshield wipers,
I know.
snow tires.
Oh, yeah.
Get after it.
Leonard, you forgot me.
Connie, what do you got, Connie?
No, I just have a couple things.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to applaud the couple that came in about the house in their neighborhood. Like I said, everybody's got some of those in their neighborhood. On my street, we have some, and we have, I strongly suggest, I guess, we've had neighbors in my neighborhood who actually mow the vacant houses, and that's wonderful, just because they want to keep up their own property, and, I mean, but anyway, and actually, we actually have, one in the neighborhood that the bank, I guess, is paying somebody to come in and mow, and they are there for 5 minutes, and they actually didn't even mow all of it, they mowed 12 feet or something from the house, and then the neighbors came over and questioned them, and they said, well, if it gets over so high, the city is responsible for it. And so we as neighbors have called that bank and complained about those companies they're taking their money and probably not, probably a pretty good chunk to come and mow those properties. So anyway, but I applaud them for coming and, I guess the squeaky wheel gets the grease or whatever that saying is. So if you come and of course that one was on the list anyway, but, so that's all I want to say about that. Number two, I think the 4-H building, thing went well, and I just want to say that I initially voted no, and I changed my vote to yes. And I think that the council, we don't take those kind of decisions lightly. That was a pretty good chunk of money, but I think what the community needs to take into consideration is it not only took a lot of money to get that building up to speed, but that's going to be a commitment on upkeep. And I hope that this community does, with all the cameras in the park, I hope that it doesn't get vandalized, and I hope it stays nice. And it was very nice. And third thing is I'm real happy to see something coming into Vistion, and we can move on.
We're trying.
And that's all.
I'd like to ask you about, you complimented the folks coming in here about the junk house. What about West State Street? What if those people come back about the brick house or brick building? What are your plans? Will you still vote no to allocate money?
Well, that's kind of where I was going with the whole, because I'm new with this whole list. Where does the list stand? How much does it actually cost? I mean, like I said, I thought somebody threw out $5,000 once, and 10 or, I'd like to see some figures on paper to see how much it does cost.
5,000 is the amount of the lien you
It's an individual
can
house.
put on the property.
Okay.
It's an individual case.
It's an individual, yeah, but I mean on average, like the size of the house, because
Well, the one
you're
on 8th
asking,
Street's
you're asking
huge.
dimensions, you're asking, obviously it's cheaper to do it ourselves than it is when we have to hire people to come in. And I mean, I still think we need to go down that track with the track hoe, just to see.
I've investigated that, Gabe is down here tonight, but we went down that. The county even offered, they have a means of moving it for us. But to own that track hoe is probably not a big deal. We could own it.
It's the
We could
operator.
get one for about $70,000 to $80,000 that would do our job just fine with a thumb. We just don't have anybody, and I shouldn't say we don't have anybody, we probably have one or two people in the city that could operate it.
Well,
And-
that's $70,000 is like 7 houses then.
Well, no, because
I mean,
the big expense to your house is hauling the stuff away.
Right,
Knocking
right.
it down is not the big expense, it's hauling that stuff away.
But that estimate was like 19,000, so how much could that indent on
Probably we
something like
would take
that?
$10,000 off. The biggest thing over on 8th Street is, it's all brick, it's
Right.
solid brick. So you
Right.
put most of that in the basement. Down there where we're doing the red house, we gotta haul most of it away and buy gravel. We buy pit rock. What we've been doing is, when you guys decide this house is bad, then we go out and get bids after John takes it through court. Maybe we should have a committee to look at the houses and put them on a list in priority. Because what Tom thinks in his district might be a
know.
priority, or Nancy, or you, I only go by how many people come to my office and complain.
Right. And some people won't come.
Yeah.
They won't come.
And that's what we've been doing. Whoever complains the most, that's where we kinda go.
I would like to see some sort of a, maybe a true list, because not doubting anybody, but when you ask different people, they've got different ideas, maybe of which is the oldest,
Right now,
that
we
needs, or
could
the
tear
longest.
25 houses down. So we haven't been pursuing it because, kinda like leaving a sleeping dog lie, I told Mr. O'Neill, work on the grass, get the yards, be sure they're safe. We've not been pursuing it because I understand, who wants to spend the taxpayers' money tearing houses down? But there are some really, really bad ones in this community.
And I think some people have these houses that aren't in bankruptcy, that aren't foreclosed on, that got properties, they own them, but they refuse to do anything with them.
And there's no punishment. I tried. I asked Mr. Baker, there is no punishment. We can't put them in jail, we can't file charges against them, we can't do anything.
Silly.
It's too bad, but that's the way it is. Moving from that, I wanted to bring you up to date on this. This shocked me today. As you know, we've been negotiating for almost, 6 to 10 months with the utilities on a contract. And they ratified the contract that John and I and Bill negotiated, and it lost today 3-1 in the Board of Works. So I couldn't even bring it to you tonight. Is the contract in their packet?
No.
Okay. Their contract expires at the end of the month. And Board of Works has to approve it first, right, John?
That's right.
It's a must. And they refuse to refuse it. So I can't bring it to you. So we're gonna sit without a contract come July 1. They voted today to give them up to 90 days to continue to negotiate.
The Board of Works did.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Mayor, they extended the contract.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Authorized them to extend the contract up to 90.
What do you have to say about it? You're the ones that have to approve
This
it.
was the offer that you took to them, and then they voted it down?
3-1. There was a lot of discussion. Fran, you were there.
Primarily because of the rate increase, that's potential because of giving more money to the employees, bringing their wage to nearly $20 an hour, plus all the benefits that they get, including 15 holidays that are paid. They get 5 personal days. They pay 10% of their insurance, which costs the city over $1,000 a month per person. They get sick leave, funeral leave, all these benefits, and we felt that we just couldn't afford it, because my main concern was that while I was told this would not cause a rate increase, putting it with other factors could possibly cause a rate increase in the water. And we're raising the people's water the 1st of July, $4.05 already, as the other half of the 12% that we put in place a year ago. I just couldn't support it, so that's the reason I voted no.
Mayor, I'm a little confused. I mean,
We,
the contract that we turned out was the one that we discussed?
it was turned down by the Board of Works, so
You've
therefore.
never discussed it, no?
No, we haven't discussed.
Well, I asked you in executive session when we were negotiating.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Collective bargaining.
Mhm.
I asked you the things that you kind of wanted in the contract, and we negotiated in private session, which we are allowed to.
Right.
And, yes, we had a contract, and the union ratified it.
The union did ratify, okay,
But
I
it was
got you.
turned down today by the Board of Works, so therefore I can't take it to you.
Okay.
Actually, Mayor, we discussed the strategy in the
Board of Works.
executive session.
Okay, I got you. Thank you.
I wanna know what, how do their wages compare to other departments' wages?
I think, Nancy, if it's okay with you, I'm gonna ask Julie to try to make a comparison sheet, because she has all those figures. It's much higher than the street department, probably equal to police and fire. Would you say, I'm guessing, right?
I don't know that it's equal to police and fire. It's higher than street, and I know it's higher than EMS. Maybe a little below police and fire.
Is their insurance different than the insurance on
They
the other?
have Lineco, which is through their union insurance, which is a cheaper rate.
It's cheaper for
Yeah.
us.
Our part of it's cheaper too, but they pay 10% of whatever the monthly premium is. The same, everybody pays 10%, just the premiums are different in different plans.
Yeah, are they local people, all of them local?
That work there?
Yes.
I believe they all
Well,
live
the
here.
money is spent here. So, what are we,
I'm not sure how many live in the city that are water customers. I don't.
Were you here this afternoon when it was turned down?
no, but I'm just saying, if it wasn't for our union, when we worked at Vision, this city would not have what we got today. And if it wasn't for the Social Security and people making their pension, you guys would not have it like we got today. And I don't know what the deal is on a raise, but when we got a raise, we spend it in our town. When Viston got a raise, we helped everybody. You don't get a raise, you don't help nobody. And if it wasn't for
It
pension
was a
and
four-year
retirement right now,
contract, and they would make
this town would go down.
70 cents an hour more. That's it.
Well, I agree with you, but
Nobody else.
we're an
And this is what we
industry.
spend our money.
we're at an impasse.
Yeah,
We negotiated for 10 months. We got a contract and it was turned down.
raise a year ago,
What was the difference
which
between the
amounts to
raises
about
that were for
$300
the
a
other
year.
departments?
Was
The
it
raise
Board of
that
Works
was-
Over
turned it
the
down,
life of the
or the,
contract.
Board of Works turned it down.
well, that ain't our people. I mean, it's our people, but it's not the working people. It's out there working every day.
No, they ratified it. My hands are tied, I can't go anyplace.
All right, if I may, we can talk about this all night. The Board of Public Works runs the Connersville Utilities, okay? So if the Board of Public Works brings an agreement to this council, then the council can vote yea or nay. I understand what you're talking about, wages and so forth. And Ruby, keep in mind, this council has the responsibility of the rates to the people that are on Social Security, and we still lead the state in unemployment. And this council, once it gets to us, we have to consider that too.
But you're talking about pension too, is now.
I'm
Our
sorry.
pension is bigger than our social security.
Well, what I'm saying, ma'am, is our obligation is to all the ratepayers in the city of Connersville.
You couldn't.
I don't want to run any businesses off by having rates too high or putting undue hardship on
Right, I
the
agree.
folks.
I know what you're talking
That's-
about.
that's
I've been
what
on
I'm-
They
both
tied
sides.
our
I know.
hands.
You know, that's what I'm trying to say.
Management.
You know, but it hasn't got to us yet.
This is information to you, I wanted you to know where we were, because you're gonna hear it on the
Full-time
street.
employees.
And I want you to know where we are.
I mean, just.
When you negotiated with the mayor, John, you were there, were you not?
Right, I was.
Negotiations is you give a little, you take a
Yes, I
little.
knew our rates.
And it's my understanding, they agreed to what you said, and you agreed with them, right?
Yeah, they gave us part-time employees in turn for a raise of 30 cents on the
30 cents.
dollar the first year, 20 the next, and 10 and 10 of the following 2 years. And the Board of Works objected to that because there were also some little increases if they would get certifications. And our thoughts were that we would start to bring younger people. The average age of a worker in the utility is 54 years old. We thought we'd get some young guys, and we negotiated, and it took a long time to get them to agree to go part-time people that could do anything, not just paint fire hydrants or cut grass, do
But they did
anything in
agree.
utility. And we thought it was an exchange for that raise. The question was brought to me, what about the non-contractuals at the end of the year? We're gonna make salary ordinances. Don't they deserve to get what the men got? Absolutely they do. If the men get it, I will sit here and fight for them to get it. They've gone 7 years with nothing. And the non-contractuals, every one of them, agreed, should get something. And it was the increase in wages that brought the thing down today. Would you say that? Am I saying it right? You were there.
Yes, and as I pointed out, I felt that if they're given a wage increase, then the office people are deserving of one. If they're deserving of one, the people here at City Hall are, street department, park department. I don't think the city's in a position to give raises at this time. Our population is going down. As I mentioned this afternoon, when John and I did the council redistricting, we worked on the 2010 census, which was 13,481 people. I'm now seeing we have 12,842 people in Connersville, so we've lost that many people in 3 years. The utility is losing customers. They have to be losing customers. It's got to stop somewhere. And with our work situation here, people driving out of town, making 10, 12, 14 bucks an hour with little or no benefits, I think you can only put so much on the folks, and that was part of my.
And you were afraid of a rate increase, another rate increase?
Yes, I think when Umball makes a study next year, I think this would contribute to a rate increase along with other factors.
And we're already having another rate increase coming
Starting
up.
July 1.
Okay.
Well, I think it's important that you know, because as Tom said, you are the final say. You're the ones that say whether they get it or don't, pass the contract or not. But at this point, it's not even gonna come to you, so I will call the union in the morning and tell them that, I guess we'll just tell them we're at a stalemate again. Is that right, John?
Well, I think what the city council does is determine whether or not the contract will be funded. The wages will be paid. It'll be in the salary ordinance. It's the fiscal part that the city council is responsible for. The contracting party itself is the Board of Works, and who is now the utility board in effect. They're the contracting party, and this body is the funding body. And of course, without funding, it's worthless as a contract.
At this point, the city council has nothing to do on this, so I don't know why we keep talking about
Well,
it.
we'd have,
Well, you need to know because you are the final say, so funding is everything.
But we aren't there yet.
No, we're not there. You're
We
right,
don't have
Nancy.
a contract, so why are
we
we
gotta
wasting
think
all
about
this
it.
time?
I think it's important that you know that. I mean, why
I
and,
watch TV.
okay. I'm
I
ready
watch the Board of
to
Works meeting.
adjourn then.
So moved.
second.
Got a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.